Hello everyone. I wanted to make a video giving a update. We got some pretty big news today, and we got the results back from the sampling that we had inspect do of our house, and I just wanted to kind of give an update for those of you who are going through the same thing, those of you who are sick for mold, those of you who are trying to leave mold, move out of mold, which I hate. I don't really like that saying now. I'll tell you why in a minute. But I feel like I'm kind of having like a big epiphany today. So yeah, this video is for those of you who are going through the same thing. I'm outside. Sorry if it's too loud. It's just beautiful out here and I wanted to film the video out here. So we got the results back and they were extensive. The suggestions that they had for remediation. We moved into this house 3 months ago. It's a beautiful 4-year-old manufactured home, kind of perched up on a hill with great drainage. The previous owners, we've had the opportunity to talk with them quite a bit. They took really good care of the house. When we moved in, we immediately started to feel better. Ian's hives went away completely. My hives went away by like 70%. I started to be able to eat things that I hadn't been able to eat for a really long time. Ian's tonsils shrunk by like 4 sizes. His knees started to hurt a lot less. My knees started to hurt less unless it was around the full moon, but that was a really big improvement. Less fatigue. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, we could finally breathe through our noses, so it was like immediate relief. But we did an ERMI test and the ERMI test came back pretty high, so we decided to have We Inspect come out and inspect, which is really expensive, but we wanted to do things the right way, you know, because our lives have been completely turned upside down by mold. Which is totally understandable. Mold is a very serious thing, especially now with the way houses are built. Common household molds can be very toxic and pose really serious health threats to people. So anyways, with everything that we had learned and with all the testing that we had done on myself, mycotoxin test that came back positive for some really toxic molds, and then I also have Lyme and Bartonella and potentially Babesia. Treating mold is really, according to all the doctors, the best way to treat all these other illnesses. So we wanted to make sure that we were creating the best environment for ourselves. But today we got those results. I also want to say that I love We Inspect. They have been amazing. They have been so kind and helpful, and I've learned so much from them. They are awesome. And I know that all of the stuff that they sent us today, all of the recommendations, are just recommendations, and they did say that most people don't do all of them. I think that just seeing all of that stuff outlined triggered me, and it made me think about the mold community as a whole and how much fear there is around mold, and not that like nobody's talking about the hopeful side of it. It's just, I think as somebody who's going through this, I have been so inundated with fearful stuff about it and kind of all or nothing stuff. And it just kind of hit me that all this talk about in the mold community about moving out of mold and throwing all your stuff away and everything, and we got rid of about 70% of our stuff, and I definitely don't regret the decision to like get rid of our mattress, because the old house we were so sick there. But we got rid of about 70% of our stuff. But the mold community, there's so many people who say this, and I've even said it myself too, and I'm not going to say it anymore, that you have to get out of mold. And the reason why I don't like that is because feels impossible to get out of mold, especially living in Washington, such a wet place. Everywhere is moldy, and it's kind of like saying you have to live a totally toxic-free lifestyle. You can't do that in today's world. You can live a less toxic lifestyle, but even if you have millions of dollars, you can't live a toxic-free lifestyle because our world is so toxic. And it seems to me like the only option for getting out of mold in Washington is either to have millions of dollars to build a house the perfect way with contractors or construction workers who are very attentive and very careful. It seems almost impossible to build a house outside in Washington that isn't going to end up having some type of a mold problem. And I feel like the only way you can actually get out of mold here is by like going outside and living in a tent, but then you've got mold exposure outside too. So I don't like this whole you got to get out of mold thing. And I also don't like that in order to create this really good environment where you have limited your mold exposure, you have to pay so much stinking money to get people to do it the right way, to hire people to find the sources and to have them do it the right way. It just like makes me really, really mad. And so now I feel like I'm kind of switching gears a little bit, and I'm kind of in the thinking of you just do the best you can. If you're living in a really moldy house, yeah, you should try to get out of there and get into a place where you feel better. But not everybody has that option. Not everybody has $1 million. Most people don't have $1 million, and they're just doing the best that they can, and they can't get out of mold. And I don't like this idea that it's all or nothing. Like you just either have to throw all your stuff away or you're screwed, or you have to get out of mold or you're screwed. I don't think that that's possible. I personally believe that, and I want to go down this path now, that you can never achieve perfection. You can never achieve the perfect state of health. You can never achieve the perfect environment. You just do the best you can with the budget that you have and with the hand that you've been dealt, and that is enough. And progress can be made that way. People even have reported that, they've lived in mold and they've gotten, air doctors, and that really, really helped with how they felt even living in mold. So I think that there are plenty of things that people can do. I just don't see how it's impossible to get better while still living in some moldy environments. So I'm kind of Ian and I had a really good talk, and a really traumatic part of this whole mold thing is to be constantly hyper fixated on perfection. It's not possible. And we have to let go, or I have to let go of this idea that I have of where I want to be in 2 years, of where I want my house to be. Not everything is in my control, and I need to just do the best that I can do today. Accept that that's enough. Accept that perfection isn't possible, and know that there are always in life going to be speed bumps along the way. Maybe I will pass some of this stuff on to my kids. That's something that I was like, I want to avoid this. I want to treat before I try to get pregnant, because I don't want to pass any of this on to my kids. But God, as a Christian, I know God says to not worry about tomorrow, and that my future is in His hands. And perhaps that's just going to happen, is I'm going to have kids and I'm going to pass some of this along to them. Again, we're just doing the best that we can do. And by letting go of tomorrow and letting go of how we want the outcome to turn out, I think that takes a lot of stress and pressure off of us, so that we can focus on being in the moment and doing what we need to do today to heal. It's already today is already full of so many problems. I forget exactly the quote from Corrie ten Boom, but she is something along the lines of, worrying about tomorrow is carrying 2 loads with today's strength. It's moving into tomorrow ahead of time Worrying doesn't empty tomorrow of its sorrow, it empties today of its strength. And I think that that is so important, because we know that the mind and the body are so connected, and I want to focus on healing both my mind and my body, and I've been so focused on that and letting go of this idea of the perfect home and the perfect health and the perfect baby or the perfect whatever is really not helping me. It's only emptying me of my strength for today, which I need to deal with everything that I've got going on today. So to all of you guys out there going through the same thing, just know that you are so intelligent, and just because doctors and inspectors or whoever are telling you what to do, it doesn't mean that you have to do it exactly that way. It is not all or nothing. We should be listening to these people and hearing them out, because they do have insight and expertise that can help us, and we can learn something from all of them. But ultimately, we have to listen to ourselves and what our bodies are telling us. And what my body is telling me is that I'm getting a lot better in this house, and that I need to just do the best that I can here, and that is enough. And so I hope that that encourages you guys, and just take a deep breath. Know that you're doing really good, and everything's gonna be okay. And if you just focus on today and doing the best that you can do today, and give yourself a break, and have grace with yourself, then you're on the right path. So just wanted to share that.